Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the December 12th, 2019 Town of Youngsville Board meeting to order. Turn things over to Commissioner Headland to lead us in invocation.
Lord, we thank you for today, for this opportunity to meet together. Lord, we also thank you for Scott that's joining us. But above all, Lord, we thank you for you during this season and your outstanding grace that is extended to all. Lord, we just ask that you'll look over especially our men and women in service as they won't be home for the holidays. And Lord, I just ask for a special blessing for the people of Youngsville. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, second thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion moved.
All right, got a first and a second. Any discussion before we move to vote? Hearing none, all in favor? And any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we get to swear in elected officials. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you're up first.
I, Joseph Johnson, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and execute the duties of my office as Commissioner for the Town of Youngsville, according to the best of my skills, abilities, and judgment, so help me God. Congratulations.
Commissioner-elect Rain, you're up. I, Scott Rain, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and execute the duties of my office as Commissioner for the Town of Youngsville according to the best of my skills, abilities, and judgment, so help me God. Sign right there. Yeah, well, I mean, just having that jacket on, it's like, ugh. Do y'all want to get some pictures real quick before you leave? But it's not going to be as significant as right now. Come on, get those kids in here. Sorry, give us just a few moments, folks. This is a big deal. Let's go. Come on. You can do it in front of the seal. You can. Here. It's a glare from back here. And it's not because of your head. And my head.
Here we go. 3, 2.
Look. I can't get cool stuff like that. He's on this one. Yeah. We're waiting for some paperwork. Okay, we've sworn in our new elected officials, so we're going to move over into citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens that would like to make a comment? If so, the floor is yours. All right, and seeing none, we'll move into the financial report, which is the audit presentation. Mr. Lee Grissom with S. Preston Douglas and Associates, LLP.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Again, my name is Lee Grissom, S. Preston Douglas and Associates. This was our first year auditing the town of Youngsville. Fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019. Usually in the first year audit engagement, it's a nightmare. And this year was actually a pleasant surprise. Jackie, who's not here, Patterson, she has a good accounting background, so she made the transition pretty seamless as first year audits go. So we felt really good about the staff overall. So the transitional pains were much less than we expected. The town's financial records were in good shape during the engagement. Management provided us everything we requested in a timely manner. We had no disagreements with management. You should have a copy of the report. I'll hit some highlights, and I did prepare some graphs, so I'm not going to go page by page. If you also have my card, so if you have any questions, if you start deep diving the report and want to email me separately, you could do that as well. But overall, it was a very good fiscal year for the town of Youngsville, at least relative to the last 4 years, because I did comparative graphs using 5-year information. 2 quick things about the report. There's 2 independent auditor opinions in this report. One's the financial statement auditor opinion, the one you're used to seeing all the time. We issued a clean audit opinion. That's our highest level of assurance that we can provide as an audit firm. The second opinion is referred to as a yellow book opinion. That's in the back of the statement. I really don't need to start reading off pages. That gets really bad, really boring. I'm not going to do that. It's in the back of the report, but I will go over that. So first off, clean audit opinion. Real quick, management is in charge of preparing the financials, they're in charge of the financials as well as internal controls. It's our responsibility purely to give an opinion on the statements using materiality thresholds. So, in other words, every number in this financial is not saying that we audited to the exact balance. So we just wanted to get that out of the way from a housekeeping standpoint. A couple of quick highlights in regards to the report. For the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019, the governmental funds increased fund balance by $626,000. So that's a really good thing. Also, in the general fund, the town was under budget $286,000 in total. So you got to remember that number, because we do have a finding that I'm going to mention later, but it kind of gives it a context knowing that the town was that much under budget in the general fund. The town had a 97% tax collection rate for property taxes, which is also good. And the current ratio, for those of you familiar with the current ratio, it's current assets divided by current liabilities. It represents a measure of the town's ability to pay short-term obligations. That current asset divided by current liabilities is a 5.3, which is really good as well. in my opinion, anything above a 2 is really good. So, any questions so far? Okay. Up next, let's go to the graph information. There's 6 pages. I tried to add some color to excite everybody here. I knew I was impressed with it. So, but anyway, page 1. This is the analysis of fund balance in the governmental funds, and this is 5-year fiscal year ended information. So we audited 2019. This is our first year, and then 4 years prior we were audited by another accounting firm. And as you can see, from 2015 to 2018, a relatively stable, where the fund balance was. It didn't really move a whole lot, but you can see it jump up pretty significantly in this fiscal year compared to the other 4 fiscal years. And in red on that same page, that's the restricted fund balance portion. So that's the amount that has restrictions. The rest of it is unrestricted, so the town can use that money and not worry about any restrictions on those funds. And again, this is fund balance, which is the assets, essentially assets minus liabilities. Let's go to page 2. Okay, page 2 is the analysis of unassigned fund balance as a percentage of general fund expenditures. Some of you guys maybe I'm not sure how familiar you are with this number. It basically, 8% represents 1 month of unassigned fund balance relative to general fund expenditure. It represents an emergency fund. So you think of personal finance, you recommended 3 to 6 months of emergency fund for typically is what you hear. This is the town's emergency fund is what this represents. In 2019, you're at 61.98%, which that's about 7 months of emergency fund. Any questions? Okay, let's go to page 3. Page 3 is total cash, all funds. So you can see all the way back in 2005, the cash balance for the total town, all funds, 1.1 million. Fast forward to 2009, you can see a big spike, $1.9 million. So again, 2019 was a really good year for the town of Youngsville. Let's go to page 4. In page 4 and 5, this is just a breakdown. Page 4 is a breakdown of general fund revenue. The next page is a breakdown of general fund expenditures for the year ended June 30th, 2019. This is just kind of interesting stuff you want to look at later. Not anything to really go over right now. Let's go to page 6. And this is the long-term debt for the town for the last 5 fiscal years. You can see in 2015, it was a very low amount, $123,000. I went back and looked at 2016's audit report. That spike was a $650,000 installment debt to purchase the building for a new town hall. So after 2016, the debt's kind of been in the same place for the last 4 years. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the 2 findings. This is most of the stuff so far has been positive. And I discussed these with both the town manager and finance officer, and I don't think the town had any findings, and I don't think the town had a yellow book report in the past, so that was the main reason. But you probably will see some of these findings. You need to expect to see some of these findings in the future, at least one of them, which would be the first finding is the segregation of duties finding. Since you have the report, I will show you this page. Let's go to page 53. So page 53 and page 54 of the report go over the internal control findings in detail. And then page 55 is the town's corrective action plan for both findings. So you may want to look at that or flag those pages. Segregation of duties for towns the size of Youngsville. You typically see this because to have proper segregation of duties, you have to have a larger staff. So it's a cost benefit analysis. Do you want to hire 3 additional people just so you can say you have good checks and balances, enough people to well, first, the 4 elements of segregation of duties are authorization, custody, recording, and reconciling. So those 4 items have to have a you can't overlap. The same person can't do one of those 4. So the issue you run into, the person doing the bank rec is also recording journal entries and that kind of thing. In a smaller office, it's nearly impossible not to have this finding. So that's the finding you'll expect to see, unless Phil or you guys want to hire several people, which that's up to you, I guess. The other finding, now this was just I look at this as substance versus form. This is a form finding. The town did a really good job of staying under budget, as I mentioned earlier. In the general fund, you were under budget $286,000, so that was terrific. The thing is, when we went on site, we looked at the documentation, internal control walkthrough. We found out that there's a pre-audit process. So every time an expenditure of the town, there's a disbursement, there's a certain requirement, a paperwork trail that was missing. So although it was clear that the town was following paying attention to the budget, making sure they were spending the town's money appropriately, there was this procedural thing missing. So we definitely alerted Phil and alerted the finance director. So we do think that finding will not be there next year. Any questions so far? And I would encourage you, if you have a chance to look at the report, I always encourage people to read the MD&A at the beginning of the report. Starts on page 3. I would read pages 3 through 10, and it's usually a good synopsis of what's going on at the town. Since I know you just are just now receiving the report. So again, good financial information to report. Just a couple of minor findings. We enjoyed working with the town. We thought they were very organized, good, capable finance officer. I would say one thing, since I can talk bad, Jackie's not here, but she does not have a governmental accounting background. So I did recommend, and I spoke to Phil on site and said, you may want to consider, if you want to continue to work with her, have her get some training in governmental. So she's strong debits and credits and understands accounting, but the fund dynamic, is a little different. Fund accounting is, so that would be one recommendation that's not in the report. So, any questions? All right. That's it. Happy holidays.
Easy peasy, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And Mr. Grissom, before you go, I would like to thank you. Obviously, this may be the first time we've ever received an audit this early in the process. So we appreciate you and your firm's due diligence in helping us arrive at this conclusion. Obviously, we've got a couple of things that we need to potentially look at and potentially fix, but that's a discussion for a later time. So we thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You guys have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'm gonna frog in my throat. All right, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and the action requested here is to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Do I hear a motion in kind? All right, we've got a first and a second. Any discussion before we move to vote? Hearing none. All in favor? And any opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll get into old business, which is a presentation by Old Town Hall upset bid winner. So, Mr. Wiggins, I will yield the floor to you, sir, or whoever. It's your time to speak.
I had a long speech, but I forgot it. but I'm a lifelong resident of Youngsville. I grew up here, was very lucky to be blessed by Youngsville High School, which is now the elementary. And we had some teachers left over from Wake Forest College, and they came over here, and through osmosis, I got to go to Wake Forest College, and I actually got out since I married my wife when I was a sophomore, and she helped keep me in school and wouldn't let me go play on Sunday afternoon when the guys came to get me. But anyway, let's get down to business. She said he can't play, he's studying. I haven't lived it down to this day. They still kid me. But I'm here to calm down, and I was a little bit hurt by saying I could not buy what I thought I had bought. I went and I have paid a lawyer before. I was told that I couldn't buy it. I have also paid an architect, which you shouldn't do that first, but I trusted everybody. Phil and Scott, you knew. I didn't know you that much, but Terry, Fonzie, Joe, Cat. There's Larry Wiggins. I don't claim him, and I know he don't claim me as kin. So, Ed, I'm here, like the guy said in jail when they brought before the judge, I guess you want justice. No, sir. I want some mercy. So that's what I'm here for. I met with the gentleman who had the bid in. We agreed that I wouldn't bid against him. At 4 o'clock on the Friday before the bid's up on Sunday, I thought you got to do it before 5 o'clock on Friday. So John was told there was another bidder. Woo, we'll bid above them. How much, Pop? Jack it up another 10,000 over what you think. So jack it up 20. Why not just I said, it's going for a good cause. It's Youngsville. That's the exact words. I'm not making that up. But anyway, then we met, and I thought, oh boy, I got the check. I've been to Benchmark. I've got the loan set up. I put up money on a CD. You put up a 1% CD, and they loan you a little bit cheaper. I like that deal. I had a 3% loan. You can't get it if you put up a CD. Anyway, I went to a lot of trouble. And I have, since that time, I've Holden's Barbecue. It's pretty good barbecue. I wanted that. I went to Hometown Cafe, and he almost laughed me out of the place. He said, that is not big enough. Get out. No, he's a nice guy. He gave more money to Franklin County Education than any restaurant in Franklin County when I was riding around making a little money for the teachers and stuff. So I like him better than any other restaurant owner in this county. He's a good guy, but he said he wasn't interested. He happened to tell me that in Franklinton, right now, they're rehabbing a new building for a Subway. $300,000. Same thing, rehab. The building's there and they're just fixing it up, $300,000. They asked, he said he checked into building one like he's got, a little bit bigger. 1 mil. I have talked to some restaurant owners. I've got two, and another tenant interested in taking what I thought I had bought. I have done the same architect that's Matthew Winslow used. It's the best building in Youngsville. I helped put that together. Does that sound like Donald Trump? I quit. Me and some other people put it together. I'm not going to use I anymore because I don't like that. Anyway, I met with the family, the Woodley family, and Tommy didn't want to do anything. He thought everything in there was a hammer's worth $40 because his granddaddy had it. It's worth $2 tops. But we talked, and I smoothed it over and fixed it, and Matthew got the bid. And I was happy for that because I knew what was going. The building up at Crossing Main, I tried to build a restaurant there earlier when I was trying to buy it from the owner. And the two people that were talking to me about a restaurant went to town hall. Before y'all got here, nobody was here. They said, no, you shouldn't build a restaurant there. There's no parking. They were exactly right. Town hall was right. There was no parking. Now there's a possibility of some parking behind it. just sometimes you feel like that, oh my goodness. Anyway, sometimes I just want to be treated the way you would want to be treated. I don't think it's fair exactly that you decided not to build after 2 years of consideration. 2 years of deciding what to do, and then you refuse to take a bid on something that was $20,000 too much, more than I should have bid, because I didn't care. I care now, but I didn't put up that much. I just put up a little bit. But I went to a lot of trouble, and I think I can beat what y'all are going to do. Are you going to give the tenant a year free? I am. I've already told them. You got a free year. I want you to look at me, and I want you to do the right thing. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Any questions?
I have a couple.
Yes, sir.
I was in the meeting that we had last week, and my understanding, you can tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Matt Winslow was gonna be your contractor, is that true or not true?
Matt was going to be what?
Your contractor for these two buildings, is that correct?
Matt was going.
Winslow.
Matt always advises me on everything. We don't have a contract. No,
Okay.
I cannot
didn't
say.
know that.
But I like him, and I think
Okay.
he likes me.
I guess I misunderstood.
No, he's not a contractor. I'm not going to pay
Okay,
him because he
that's
didn't pay me when he bought 6 acres to build 55 townhomes.
Yeah.
He just
That's
finished.
fine, that's fine.
But anyway, no, he's not on pay. But he's agreed to help. We used to, he gave me the contractor's name.
All right.
I've already paid the contractor.
No, I understand that. Okay.
That, you did have that part right. Yeah, I've paid him, same one Matthew used.
Okay.
But I don't think the new tenant may not use that particular contract architect.
Right.
Because he's not a specialist for restaurants. And 2 of the people are restaurant people. I told them I would not mention their name, and the ones I mentioned are not coming. So the other one who would like to come, I told him I wouldn't mention it. But there's another one, and then there's another person that wants to do it. Oh, by the way, there will be no warehouse for Cheryl.
Right.
It's Cheryl. 2 years ago, we spread the word we would like to have it for a warehouse. And I understand why you might not have wanted that. But the parking lot behind it, which I thought was going with the property at that time, that would have been ideal to put it at the back, and we pull our trucks in and back up to that and unload the carpet like we do at Gordon Welch's warehouse. But now, Joan gets in the truck and drives over there and meets the truck, meets the tenants, meets the people that are going to work. It would be very nice if we could be at the back of that. But I didn't know the parking lot didn't go with it until 2 days before I put the bid in. I was pretty naive.
The other question I had, I saw this somewhere that the anticipated cost was gonna be like $300,000 to $400,000. Is that true?
I
Give
would,
or, I mean,
I would give you the person to call, Garland Hudgens at Hometown Cafe.
Yes, he said he was asking if our estimated cost was between $3,000 and $4,000.
Oh, yeah.
$400,000.
so that's
Somebody else
what
gave
the
it to me,
initial
and-
plan is, that's correct?
and also somebody up the street gave it to me.
Okay.
I hate to put
No,
names
no,
out.
no, that's all right.
You know who
you
I'm
don't have to
talking
do
about.
that.
And the other plan, as I understood it, was to have the barber shop in,
Yes,
That's
first
correct.
building, maybe I should have gotten into that first.
That's all
First
right.
building, Jones' office on the right. Left side, barber shop, nice, upgrade, new stuff, new plumbing. You can't put a barber shop with no sink.
Right.
It's got to be redone all the way, 100% nice, handicap bathroom where people go in. There's nothing there that's any good. The inside is not good enough to have a nice place. It's good enough to rent a room out for junk, but storage, that's not what we want.
So
can't-
hopefully you'd like a restaurant if that's possible. You'd like the barber shop, some offices. Is that pretty much?
Go ahead.
A small retail and possibly in the police department, on one side, the barber shop on the other side,
Okay.
and offices in the back.
I thought that was, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
It's gonna be her property. Cheryl has one, Main Street flooring, and this is the other half. How do you want your inheritance, like this or an investment? She thinks I got lucky, so she wants to try it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
And I
no
have been
warehouse.
Very
right?
lucky.
No warehouse. Okay.
So it'll be in her name once I get it.
Okay.
But she's gonna work. I'm not gonna work much more.
Right.
I would like to be considered, if y'all want me to leave
Oh, no.
and you wanna
You
vote,
don't need to leave.
that's fine. I don't care. Because in the morning, I'm either in or I'm out. And I appreciate any more questions.
You say you're not gonna work much more, but you are gonna keep on working, you never stop working.
Well,
I think what she said is you just fibbed to us, that you're not going to quit working at all. Is that what I'm hearing?
I like to play the game, and I'm getting too old. My wife says, "Why are you doing this?" I said, let's play. I like to see if I can beat that guy and that guy. It really is a game. And I want a shot at it. I don't know if I forgot anything or not, but teaching 10 years, you don't need to know that. I paid my dues to society. After that, when a football coach at Lenore Ryan College offered me the head job to coach, I said I'll have a camp and I could make my money to recruit with. Sir, we have a policy on that. Two of my football coaches will make $1,000 apiece, and you will make $1,000. 2/3 of my camp is going to go to his football coaches. I said, yes, sir. And he made a statement, said, don't recruit too many people like I don't like, and I'll take care of you. Then I stood up. I still wanted the job in a way. And I said, Coach, I'm not going to need taken care of because I'm either going to win or I ain't going to be here. He said, you mean that, don't you, boy? I said, yes, sir. I walked out. I rode up the road to Morganton Hoser Mills. In 3 hours, they offered me twice as much as I was going to make. And I called the president of the college. He said, please let me come and talk to you. I want you to stay. I said, sir, I'm not going to mess up your school. You've got a good football program and your basketball program's very average. That's easy because I can improve average better than I can at Duke. I don't want that job. No way. And he said, well, just let me come over and talk to you. I said, no, sir, I'm not going to mess up. Well, I think the guy that took the job's doing okay. His name's Rick Barnes. He's at Tennessee. I rest my case.
Thank you, Mr. Wiggins. Any additional comments, questions, concerns from the commissioners?
Am I able to make a motion?
I was going to call for one,
Oh,
but I was
okay.
going to say, I just want to make sure everyone had
Okay.
whatever questions out of the way. Because again, I mean, it's a big decision, either which way. So, any additional questions, anything follow up before I call for a vote, or before I call for a motion? All right, hearing none. So do I hear a motion from the board to proceed with the sale of the Old Town Hall at this time?
I make a motion that we proceed with the sale at this time.
Okay. Do I hear a second? All right, we got a first and a second. It is discussion time. Is there any discussion before we move to vote? Nobody?
I think that, obviously, the family's been a part of this, part of South for a very long time. I know that we had concerns, obviously. obviously, it's gonna be a warehouse space. Nobody wanted that. That's just to be honest. But taking at your word, that it's not gonna be a warehouse space. I'm all about giving somebody a fair shot at it, as far as being true to the word. So, you know, if there's a restaurant there, that's great. If it's a good addition to the town, I'm all for it.
Can I add something to that?
If we're in discussion time, you can say
Okay.
whatever you want.
When,
Respectful.
it is. I was really thankful that you all came into that meeting the other day. Because all I knew was about a warehouse. And, well, that was my understanding, okay? And you clarified that you want to turn that area into something good. We've been playing with this area for 3 years and we've done nothing with it. We've done a lot of work has gone into, Ed has put a lot of work into this, a lot of work. And I hate for us to walk away and turn this business down. So you'd be an asset to the town and I really welcome you. And I hope the board votes in favor of it. That's it.
So, I mean, you ever heard a judge talk to his courtroom when he says when you win an argument, a lot of times you want to be quiet? It's probably a good idea. The only thing that I was going to allude to is, and this is stuff that I've shared with Twig and Joan. Commissioner Hedlund and I did have a sit-down meeting with those guys, and Phil was present. And clearly, you know, we've got a vision for the town, right? I'll try to speak up as much as possible. Sorry. Got a little bit of a frog in my throat. We feel like we've got a pretty clear vision for the town and what we want here and what should be, what's going to work. Because not too long ago, there was a lot of boarded up businesses. And I think we've done a tremendous job. I think all these guys should be applauded for the work that they've done in turning this around. So, you know, to think that it could be something and not fit into what we envision, it's a little off-putting. So I never wanted you guys to think that it was a situation where it was something against you. It didn't fit within what we envisioned of something, you know, something to go in there. And not to get into too many details, but we started the process of kind of asking some questions. When this initially started, we thought the only option presented to us was sell. We thought that was the only option all the way around every single, you know, every other scenario, any scenario was sell, sell, sell. And then we started getting some feedback from the ABC store, knowing that they wanted to expand, that they wanted to do some things. So I started asking some questions to both Phil and our legal counsel here to figure out, is this the only thing we can do? Well, then after the fact, we found out that we could do some land swaps, we could do leases, and we could do things of that nature. And it was never presented to us by Roe, and that's not a mark against Roe. He was told by this board to pursue the sale of that land. So Roe didn't do anything wrong. We just didn't know what we didn't know. So having said that, and just to kind of throw everything out here and make sure everyone is kind of on the same page, I think Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Hedlund have said it. You've been a long-standing part of the community without a shadow of a doubt. So to think that we would do something that would be negatively impactful to you, it's not anything that we're trying to do, right? From my standpoint, in knowing that there's other options out there, we've got a piece of land, we've got a piece of property that if we were able to renovate, we could also make money off of it too and help the tax burden from taxpayers in subsequent years. So that's kind of my spiel. I just wanted to say, all things being equal, if we've got pros, we got cons, let's get all of it out on the table to make a really good informed decision. And I'll be quiet. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Do you guys have a time frame in mind? I know initially we said, just in initial conversations, we were looking at trying to get this kind of turned around for a year. And Phil, if you got additional input, I'll yield.
So I will say that Mr. Wiggins has been very aggressive about this process. I think he's very excited to get into the property and to make it something that is certainly much better than it is now. I think it would probably take us until your next meeting to come to contractual language, because this agreement, although even if the board directs us to proceed, still needs to be formalized in writing. Sure. So we will negotiate things like how long the town public works staff will have access to the garage that's on that property, how the easements are going to be recorded for parking access to the whatever public parking is available on the parcel that we will retain that's behind that. So, you can speak if you want to about how ready you are to proceed. My indication in all of our conversations is that you're ready to proceed immediately. And my goal, if the direction is to proceed from the board this evening, would be to work with you and have a contract ready by their next meeting.
No, I was going to say, I think you've done a pretty good job of, like I said, explaining it up front with the loans and stuff like that. So I think from that perspective, we're okay. So. It's okay. It's okay. Any additional questions, comments, concerns from the board? Hearing none. Okay. We've got a first. We got a second. Discussion time is over. The motion as presented is to proceed with the sale of Old Town Hall at this time. Hang on a second, let me jot this down.
Did we officially turn down the accepted?
We have not done anything other than advertise and fulfill the upset bid process. So we have advertised until there were no more bids, and the winning bidder is Mr. Wiggins. That leaves us where we are today. We still have his deposit in hand, and now the board is acting to tell us whether or not they want to proceed. Does that make sense? Yep. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the clarification. Okay, so we've got a first, a second. We're out of the discussion phase. So I will say, I'll ask all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let me make sure I got this correct. I had 2 ayes. Did I count this incorrectly?
For the public record, it may be instrumental to make a roll call vote.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to be on the safe side here, because I only heard 2, so I apologize. All right, start with Commissioner Wiggins. Yea or nay? Commissioner Redd? Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Hedlund?
Yes.
Commissioner Brame? Okay, 3-2. Motion carries to proceed with the sale of Town Hall. All right. We're almost done. If y'all just want to sit there, you can. I mean, it's completely up to y'all. We'll, all right. Thank you. All right, moving into new business, discussion on Campo Executive Board and alternate members. Phil, did you have anything to comment on that?
That was pretty much me. Now that we do have new board members, I was wondering if y'all would like to discuss if someone else would like to take over Campo. The staff portion is fine, but I know that Terry has been working.
Yeah, can I just speak to that real quick? I mean, I've been doing it for 6 years now, and I've got 5 other boards right now, and it's gotten to be a little overwhelming. So I really want to step back from that particular board. That's it.
I have served on a Campo board.
I have not.
I was the new guy too at one time.
I mean, is that something I can jump into?
I'll help you. I mean, I'm not just gonna leave you hanging.
Okay.
It's actually very.
If I could do it, you could do it.
Because I'm not able to make all.
When are?
They meet monthly.
Tuesday.
They meet once a month. It's every Wednesday, every third Wednesday. And once a year, there's a combined meeting with Durham.
Right now, they're on a first Thursday actually, from 10 to noon in downtown Raleigh.
No, Wednesdays. Wednesdays. 4
Okay.
to 5.
I
Nice
think
try.
I think we're thinking about
You're
two
on-
separate
you're on-
Campo
yeah,
meetings.
we are.
Yeah.
We are.
Okay.
It's every third Wednesday from 4 to 5 downtown Raleigh. Once a year, they meet in Durham, which will be the January meeting, which is going to be the end of January. So that's going to be the only exception. If things are really bad, you can call in, but I'd advise you for the first few to attend if you can. And I promise I won't leave you hanging.
Okay. Not working on it too. So.
Is that okay? Are you all right with that? All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll double check, but I may need to bring a resolution for this next month, but I'll let the info know that we have that.
Yeah, there's no December meeting. No December meeting.
It's super appreciated. It's a very important
Yeah.
part.
It's a big
Thank you
deal.
for serving, Terry.
Sure.
It is a big and important part of making sure that Dennis is heard in the metropolitan area when it comes to traffic specifically and all that good stuff. So it is important and we want to count on it. It's a great thing.
Emily, for the record, do you want us to make any kind of a motion to go for that, or do you want to adopt a resolution for the next meeting? Okay.
I don't need the resolution, but I'm making sure I do. We'll do that.
Okay.
Especially since you're not having a meeting as well. We should be good.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, we'll get into reports and other business. I get to go first. Today is my baby girl's birthday, so I want to wish her a happy 12th birthday. It flies by tremendously. Want to give a big thank you to Emily and everybody involved with the parade. I know how much time it takes to pull that stuff together. I know we benefited from some local cancellations, but I think the majority of folks, I would say 99.5%, really enjoyed the parade. There were some that didn't understand that we were having a parade and weren't allowed to get to their homes, but it's one day, 2 hours a year. I think we can deal with that. So, again, kudos. I love every bit of it. And next year, I think we're going to try to get Commissioner Hedlund in one of those suits. Right? Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Already got the socks.
You already.
I do. Look at there. I'm sorry to start.
I did wear my snowflake tie. So, other than that, I know we won't really see each other and meet together as a team beforehand. So I wanted to tell everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Town Administrator, Mr. Cordero.
Good evening, everyone. The only thing I have is that I wanted to remind everyone that we do have a special meeting on January 7th, which is a public hearing for the Unified Development Ordinance or Youngsville Development Ordinance. That'll be at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. in this building on January 7th, which is a Tuesday. That is the Tuesday that precedes your regularly scheduled January meeting. We send out postcards to every single taxpayer, so I hope that we will at least have a better opportunity to engage those that weren't engaged the first time around. And we look forward to the public feedback. For anybody that is interested, citizens can contact Town Hall during normal business hours, and we're happy to set individual appointments with citizens that have comment on the Unified Development Ordinance, and we're happy to incorporate that into the final product, whether it's the zoning map or a variety, as I think Commissioner Wiggins has pointed out on several occasions, that the majority of what the Unified Development Ordinance addresses is not the zoning map. There's a lot of other standards and specifications that are important to review and comment on if you have comment. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you for that, Mr. Cordero. We will start with the right. and work our way down to the newbie on the stage, Commissioner Wiggins. Sure.
I voted to approve this motion, not because I wanted to, but because I felt that we could not only send in good faith, where it was already, see it all in good faith, I did not feel it was right, that this lady was being changed. Even though I felt that we knew throughout the city, come on,
I think that's fair.
in my opinion, the way we should have done.
Sure.
So, I'll just caution you.
Right. And it's certainly unfortunate that we didn't know what we didn't know. And, you know, timing is everything. They say that with everything in life, timing is everything. And we didn't know. And until the wheel started turning to think about the ABC store, that's when I got with Phil and with Ed. And then it started to come out that, hey, we've got all these other options. But again, I don't think it was Roe's fault because we told Roe, hey, we're going to sell it. And that's kind of that avenue he went. So, sure. Yeah. Right. Well, we know now. We know now.
I didn't think we could business on those things. That was my part of it. We talked about we wanted to sell it, and I didn't want to sell it either. I didn't want to sell it either between the warehouse space. None of us wanted that. That was the biggest thing we did not want. But all you can do now is just hope he does the right thing.
Can I add it?
And contractually,
What changed my mind is when I went to that meeting, knowing that what they were gonna do and knowing that we already had a contract, or it wasn't signed, but we'd already, a good faith kind of deal, but knowing more of what he wanted to do, or they wanted, so they wanted to do. And I don't see the town taking on another $300,000 in debt to try and rehab it.
we wouldn't have.
We can do it with somebody else. That was my opinion. And we found out that he was not going to do what he was saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Fair enough. And thank you for those comments. Commissioner Red.
This is great. Thank you to Emily. Emily works very hard every year. And I actually really enjoy being out there.
Emily got her mom voice on a couple of times. Y'all better load up right now.
Yeah, and don't forget to shop locally, because there's a lot of great places in downtown to buy Christmas gifts. You know, you spend on your in-laws. But if you do, happy holidays, everyone.
Anything else, Commissioner Red?
No, sir.
All right, Commissioner Johnson.
Okay, so it's a new month, and I want 15 miles per hour in my neighborhood. I am so sick of it. It's every month, and I know everybody sitting at this table hates to hear it.
I don't hate to hear it. I just told my kids this morning actually that I love living here, been here 14 years, but it has actually got to the point where it's affecting quality of life, and I've always been one to say, it's just traffic, it is what it is, but it is affecting quality of life.
I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna go because I'm gonna throw something, and it's gonna bust the window.
I have so I just want to make sure the guidance or request is clear that you would like to reduce the speed limit to 15. Is that correct?
It needs to be in that quadrant of where right around railroad track. That area.
So
Cross street, and from Nassau to railroad.
And I don't want to preempt Chief Whitley's conversation because I'm sure he'll have his own subject matter to share. But I think that probably the main issue is that there are people who are exceeding the speed limit currently. They're traveling faster than 25, And so I think that if we up enforcement in those areas to 25, that's the first step. But I just want to make clear that there are probably some people that are not going to be happy about that. That, you know, because the state law is that you can get a ticket for going 1 mile over.
Right.
So we can ticket everyone for going 1 mile over. Now, if your intention is to lower the speed limit to 15 with the intention of not giving anyone a ticket until they go 10 miles over, then we can, I guess, talk about that too. But the way that we solve, I think, the problem that you're trying to point out is through enforcement at this point. And so I don't know if you have any comments on it, Chief Whitley.
No, that was going to be my comment. Is North Carolina has an absolute speed limit law, and before that we took measures to lower it by 10 miles per hour. My recommendation would be have some officers in that neighborhood doing exacting speed limit enforcement, and I think you would see an immediate net reduction in the speed on that roadway there.
Thank you. I just wanted to turn on my microphone.
My son was backing out of his driveway, well, that's all this stuff. Heard a car coming up south outside. Came across Main Street, and I didn't slow it down.
Ooh.
Slid.
Oh, okay.
It happens almost every morning. This new business that we put in over here, or the old John offices, that's a bunch of people with extremely loud muffles and little souped-up cars, and they fly out that street. I believe it's fine. Sorry.
Just briefly taking off my town attorney hat, putting on my defense attorney hat. If the town is going to enforce a very strict speed limit, then you need to get on board with the DA's office on that situation too. Because if not, then all you're going to see is a ton of cases that get dismissed.
Correct.
And the problem's may remain a problem, and it's not going to have any solution to it at all. So that needs to be something that is discussed with the DA's office if that's something that you're trying to do, especially in those areas.
Yeah, and it's been my experience, whether you're dealing with a quality of life issue, which is the speed is, as well as the safety as well, or whether it's something more serious like a narcotics related issue, best practices are get on board with the DA's office so they know the real problem that we're experiencing in these neighborhoods and they can address it accordingly. So we'll certainly do that.
And initiating those types of conversations might bring to light some other solutions that have worked in other areas within Franklin County.
Well, and I would concur with that. I think, you know, one of the things that we've talked about is community policing and being present and observant. And my assumption, and just because, well, I'm not going to assume, my guesstimate is that if a lot of people start seeing blue lights on that road, they're automatically going to start slowing down because the word's going to get out, hey, you better not speed on that road, or, you know, whatever the case is. I'll trust that we'll leave it in your capable hands.
Yes, sir.
To get it resolved.
One more with the defense attorney hat on real quick.
Which hat you got? Okay, all right.
So is the state law also states that nobody can receive improper equipment if they are traveling 25 miles an hour or more over the speed limit. Improper equipment is a non-moving violation, 0 points on your license, 0 points on your insurance. So at some point, if the speed limit does come down and there are people doing greater than 40 miles an hour on that road, which Commissioner Johnson most likely has seen multiple times, then at that point, people will be getting tickets that they can't really reduce.
Right.
And they would have to pay for them regardless of what the situation is.
And those also equate to points on insurance as
That
well,
would
right?
come with at least 1 point on insurance and 1 point on your license, depending on the amount of speed and what the reduction would be. If it gets down to a 9 over, it's at least 1 to 2 points on your insurance. If it gets to 14, it's 3 points on your insurance.
Okay.
And that's a 40% increase in your insurance rate, so nobody likes to pay more insurance than they don't have.
Concurred. Okay. Good discussion there. Commissioner Johnson, anything else? All right. Commissioner Hedlund.
I just want to thank everyone that participated in the Christmas tree lighting. I think it went really well. Was pretty good,
The
right?
dogs were fantastic.
So, I mean, we had the women's club, Kiwanis, the church, town folks, the mayor.
The choir was great.
The mayors. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Completely fine.
I do have a sense of humor. Greg, thanks for coming.
Sir.
Phil, thanks for coming.
Yes, sir.
The two people in your position before never came, just FYI. Ed, thank you for being the chef.
Happy to.
The choir was really good.
One thing,
They were very
I thought they were
good.
awesome.
They were wonderful to
Now, I told Fonzie we may do a fun song next year, but I'll leave that as a surprise.
If we're wearing fun suits, we got to sing a fun song.
That's right.
I mean, that's just what it is.
We're gonna do a fun song too. All right?
Also, Fonzie
Thank
told
you,
me that they
Scott,
make
for
those
doing
suits,
as well.
they make skirts, right? Suits with a skirt, so don't try to leave me out just because I'm a girl.
So we got to get Joe and Larry involved now.
But we had talked at one point maybe doing it at Luddy, but I don't think we're big enough to do it based on what we had this year. I think the quaint thing for now, maybe at some point, but let's keep it where it is for now. You all right?
I really liked it. You did a great job. Keep walking.
Well, I like that. Well, I think what he's saying is there may be some conversation and moving the tree to
We
Luddy
did.
at some point. Well, I love having it on Main Street. I mean,
kinda
it's
neat.
it's a lot
You'd
more
have to be
visible.
there to experience it. I mean, it's right in town. Come to it sometime.
Yeah, I think some other. Yeah, I think some other folks have made a comment that they thought it went with the vet, and I think our promotion has always been is the town's tree lighting, hosted by Youngsville Animal Hospital, et cetera, et cetera. So,
The plan is to go there at some point. It
Right.
really is, but it's got to get a little bigger. So it's not, but the quaintness of it.
No one would see
Yeah.
that lighting, it's just not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
don't wanna do
that
it.
was the whole premise of moving it from Irene Mitchell. Is
Yeah.
no one ever saw it over there.
Right.
So
I
the
did go Facebook Live with Christmas tree lighting at the conference a lot. Huge.
yeah.
The only reason we would move it would be from a safety perspective if it was too many.
Right.
And we're not there yet. We're not even close. Anyway, enough of that. All right. Onward.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
That's always a good thing. All right, I will turn it over to Commissioner Brain.
I'd just like to say I'm happy to be here and looking forward to the opportunity.
We're happy you're here, brother.
Thank you.
Well done. And you too, Commissioner Johnson. All right. I don't see Ms. Klinger here. Do we have any updates on planning and zoning?
The only update would just be that we're having that public hearing on January 7th, and that's it.
All right. Mr. Town Attorney, Mr. Bartholomew?
Just a couple things real quick. First thing is, approval of what we did. I will get on getting a draft after I get some conversations from our close attorney. So we'll do all that and move direction for you as well. I'd also just like to thank the town for a year, to be your servant. A great year. And to get that type of experience. And I will enjoy going out on the Christmas tree. So, thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. All right, and I will, I guess, formally introduce this next gentleman to everybody, and I will yield the floor to Chief Whitley.
Yes, sir. I just want to open by saying I can't tell you how thankful I am to be here and how much I appreciate the faith and trust and the enormity of this job by the town administrator and the commissioners and the mayor. Just want to open by saying that. I've got a short list here. The police department received 327 calls for service in this past month, and a call for service is defined as anything that the officers may respond to. That could go from a barking dog to a serious criminal offense. And I'm giving this explanation because when you look at these numbers, it may seem like there's some disparity between kind of the amount of calls that we receive and those which are actual reportable incidents. So I just want to kind of clarify that. In addition to those calls for service, or within those, we had 27 reported crimes. And if you have the monthly report before you're there, you'll see the reported crimes. Now, of those, 14 of them were actually reportable incidents. Those are going to be crimes that an officer appeared on and they actually could establish some suspicion of or maybe probable cause for that incident actually occurring. And that's what I wanted to highlight there. You know, you may get a call for a larceny, for instance, and the officer arrives and it's dispatched that on its space, but when he or she gets there, they may realize that this crime didn't actually occur, or the elements of the crime just aren't there for further investigation. That's why you see the differences in those numbers. If no one has a question about that, I'll move on. This month as well, we're conducting kind of to highlight the traffic issues that you're having over there on Nassau and Cross. The officers are conducting a survey this month. The deadline is January 1st, and there's two components to that survey. The first is to prevent the exit from Nassau Street onto 96. They're going to do that potentially by removable barricades at the end of that street, so we could open it up when we needed to increase traffic flow or as needed. But those will be with removable barricades. And then the second element of that survey is a right turn only from East Persimmon and Cross Street. We originally talked about some specific times of day when you could do the right turn only, but considering just how considerable that traffic flow is there, and that we were having traffic collisions sort of at all times of the day and into the early evening hours, it would be my suggestion that it was just a right turn only. But that's something certainly we could discuss later. As far as our police department related events, we've got a Shot with a Cop event coming up December 17th. We have 12 kids from the elementary school here in town that are going to participate. And they were given, or will be given rather, $125 gift certificates each. And officers are going to accompany them for Christmas shopping. And we have a short list of things that they must buy: socks, coats, the necessities. And that should leave a small amount of money left over for the kids to shop for toys or whatever. But they'll be accompanied by the officers' uniform personnel.
And I wanted to just make a brief comment that that event will start in this building at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. So that's this coming Tuesday, December 17th, where some businesses in town have been generous enough to cater a holiday meal, which the participants in that activity will share with police officers. So everyone is more than welcome to enjoy the Christmas spirit.
Thank you for
Sorry to
asking.
interrupt.
No, sir. Thank you.
I think I would hate to inundate something that we're doing. Absolutely.
That's not a bad idea. The officers have been given, I hesitate to call it a directive, but they've been encouraged to sort of to bolster our Facebook exposure. So events like this, we'll be capturing photos and forward them. Sure, that would be great.
Or you could even live stream it.
Ooh, live stream would be great. And I'd also like to add, if you know Officer Parrish, she sort of took it upon herself to head this project up. And in the short time that I've been with her, I've seen that she is tremendously involved in community-related activities, and seems to be fast becoming our sort of community liaison officer, if you would. So if you happen to see her, give her a thanks. Also, speaking of Officer Parrish, she just completed General Instructor School. That will enable her to teach any material that the North Carolina Justice Academy puts out each year for our officers in service training. I can tell you, having gone through that program and received that certificate, that it is very time intensive, and there's a lot of associated college level material that goes along with completing that curriculum. And that's everything on my short list.
All right. What about on the long list?
I'm kidding. Thank you for that, Chief Whitley.
Yes, sir.
All right. Assistant Chief Graney.
I like the microphones. I'm told I have a late night jazz radio voice.
I think you do. I think you do. It's the slow jams.
It's been a couple
by
months.
Assistant Chief Graney.
107.9 to be anyways, I haven't been here in a couple months. I've been extremely busy with work and family, and I apologize for that, but it's great to see everyone. On behalf of the Youngsville Fire Department, I did want to welcome Chief Whitley to the town public safety team. We look forward to continuing the collaboration that we've built over the past couple of years. I think it's going to be a positive move. He mentioned Officer Parrish. I did want to note, I worked with her at RDU Airport when I was a firefighter there, and she was a law enforcement officer there. And I was very pleased to see her come to town here because she understands community policing, community service in these events. I think it's going to be a huge impact for the town. So that's great. Fire department has run year to date 1,020 calls as of about 5 o'clock today. So again, another busy year. The Christmas parade this year, I also had that on my list. I'll echo everyone else. Thank you to Emily and Phil for all the hard work on that. This was the first year that I had watched it as a spectator instead of being in it. And the people around, the comments I was hearing in the crowd, everyone had a tremendous time. So that was great. I even like the new route. So,
Excellent.
I did also want to mention a piece on that, and Mr. Mayor, you may get upset with me, but I thought it was fantastic, the spirit of community. This is a personal note, not fire department, but that I received a text message at 10:30 at night from our mayor concerned about the Franklin Academy State Championship soccer team and getting a spot in the parade after the unfortunate cancellation of the Wake Forest parade, and the next 12 hours of people making phone calls and finding a solution to that. And I just wanted to say I think that shows the teamwork and collaboration and the spirit of community that exists in this town, and it makes me happy that I live here. We did hire in end of September, beginning of October, we hired 3 new firefighters. That brings our 24-hour staffing at Station 1 to 3 full-time personnel. And then during the daytime, Monday through Friday, we still have part-time personnel, full-time battalion chief, and then nights and weekends is still supplemented by volunteers that sign up for shifts and plus up that staffing. So there's typically 4 to 5 personnel on shift 24 hours a day at Station 1. We're trying to come up with solutions to be better prepared for the higher call volume that we're receiving, which is very difficult for volunteers getting out of bed 3 times a night after midnight when you have to work full time. But we're making strides in that department. It's getting colder, and I did want to mention about outdoor burning. Again, outdoor burning outside of a commercially built chimenea or chimney, rock structure with natural items that originate in your yard is illegal by the town ordinance. So we would ask that residents refrain from burning their leaves with large piles and or trash within the town limits. We will come out and put it out, and we will work with the police department if needed on that. It does present a danger to the town. I had on there another personal note about Winston Street that Commissioner Johnson brought up. The other day I witnessed somebody moving very quickly, and I thought they were going to jump the train tracks. And for the first time in my life, I wished I was in law enforcement. You got it. But they're definitely, I was concerned from a public safety point of view because there is kids in the area that were riding bikes and such. The fire department did adopt in our October business meeting a set of core values as we continue to move forward on strategic planning and creating a vision for all the change that's occurring in Southern Franklin County in our 62 square mile territory. And those are honor, integrity, pride, duty, and respect. The next step in that is going to be creating what is our vision moving into the next 10 years or so, where we see things going. But based on those core values is how we're going to craft that vision and our view of where we're going to move into the future. So I'm excited about that. I have on here, again, another personal note. The kickball, Andrew's not here, but I did want to publicly thank Andrew for all the hard work on the kickball season. I don't want to bring up old things, but my team did defeat several teams, including some in the room, to make it to the championship. Unfortunately, we did fall to Main Street Flooring's team in the championship. But the personal note being, it was nice for 1 hour a week. I'm not an assistant fire chief. The mayor's not the mayor. We're just neighbors out there playing. The town administrator is not. The police department wasn't police officers. We were just out there having fun. And I really enjoyed that. And I look forward to doing it again in the spring. And then my final note is hope everybody has a happy, safe holiday season. And I hope to see you guys around town.
I would like to point, and thank you for the comments, Mr. Graney. I would like to point out that one of the individuals on one of the set teams that were defeated did have an error-free game. It was like 3 for 4. Just for the record, Emily, if you wanted to jot that down. So.